That's correct. 94% of all the bikes sold in the United States are made in China. So China has a very concentrated supply chain for bikes. Our bikes are made of 65 unique parts, and there's 40 unique vendors that come together and make all the different components to make the bike. So moving to another country just really isn't an option for us and most people in the bike industry right now, simply because it takes a coordinated move of that whole supply chain to move to a different production base, which is going to take years and obviously millions of dollars of investments.
Right. And your point is, even if you said, OK, fine, that's what needs to happen, it's not clear whether that's what needs to happen or if there's going to be some larger deal. And in the meantime, tariffs on bikes have gone from, correct me if I'm wrong, 11% up to soon to be 41%. And how much of is that being passed on to the consumer?
Yeah, that's correct. It'll be 41% as of the new round, the new 5% increase as of October 1st. We've raised our retail prices 10%, but we've been in a whipsaw of all these tariff changes going on. So we've passed on some of that cost to the customer. We've absorbed some of the cost ourselves. But yes, the biggest problem is because of the uncertainty, I find myself checking the news every day just to know what my landed costs are going to be next quarter. And the biggest problem with that is because there's so much uncertainty, a lot of the manufacturing players in the industry, the factories that make all these parts and the bike itself, they're hesitating to make any investments anywhere else to build factory production in another place because they don't know if these tariffs are going to go away this year or if this is going to be a long-term thing. So the uncertainty makes it so that actually the path to moving is a lot harder to do.
So how has that uncertainty, Brian, spilled over to your other spending, whether it be hiring workers or people to staff stores or whatnot?
Sure. So we're a very fast-growing startup company in the bike business. So we're growing at about 300% year over year. In any fast-growing business, the biggest challenge is planning and cash flow planning. And the biggest input to that cash flow planning is your inventory and your product costs. So because we've had such uncertainty with what our product cost is going to be the following quarter, we've really had to be a lot more conservative with our hiring plans, with the amount of money that we're putting into things like innovation and marketing and growth, and just had to take a much more conservative approach to make sure that we have enough cash there on the balance sheet to absorb any of these increases that may or may not happen.
I'm not looking to sucker you into a political debate, but when you hear people say that the Chinese are paying these tariffs, what is your reaction, number one? And number two, do you have any reaction that some of the money that is being collected in tariffs from industries like yours is then being transferred to help other industries like soybean farmers?
Yeah, sure. So, I can tell you from the front lines of this that it's companies like ours that actually pay the tariff bill. In fact, U.S. Customs actually takes the money directly out of our account automatically every time we have an import. So we're the ones paying the tariffs. The challenge, again, is that I think the belief is that these tariffs are going to cause a major move out of China and inflict some pain on China because industries are moving out of China. But like I mentioned,
and
from our experience,
some are, though, right? Some are. You find it very difficult to do that, but some are.
Yeah. If you're making something like a T-shirt or even a tennis shoe, something that doesn't have a complex supporting supply chain underneath it, it's a little easier to move. But in cases like ours, where you have a very concentrated supply chain and lots of different parts that come together to make the final product, the uncertainty of where the tariffs is going to be actually just creates a situation where that path of investment that's needed to decouple
does it
supply
bother
chain
you
from
that
China
farmers are getting help and you're not?
Well, I'm glad the farmers are getting help. I wish that everything was, an even plane, but we're living in a world right now that it's just not quite even. But, we're trying to compete as best we can every day and do the best we can with what we have.
Do you see any possibility under which this could be an existential threat to your business?
For us, I think we'll make it through. Again, we've had to slow down spending. We've had to slow down investment. But I'm sure, as somebody that knows what it's like to run a small business, there are plenty of small businesses that aren't going to have quite as much pricing power and probably are going to be left out of business through, living through the whipsaw of these tariffs.